The NBA draft wrapped up last week in Brooklyn, and 2 Tennessee Vols heard their names called, and I think one in particular will be a huge help to Tennessee's program moving forward. Hey guys, Lucas Panzica here from 104.5 The Zone and A to Z Sports. So the NBA draft has come and gone. Tennessee did not have a first-round pick like they did last year with Dalton Knecht, but they had 2 names called in the second round. One that was highly expected and one that was a surprise to some folks out there. Chaz Lanier was taken 37th overall, the 7th pick in the second round to the Detroit Pistons, and Tennessee defensive mastermind Jemai Mashack was taken with the final pick of the NBA draft, going at number 59, and he will start his NBA career with the Memphis Grizzlies. So Mashack gets an opportunity to stay in state for his pro career. Starting with Chaz Lanier, I think this is massive for Tennessee's program because Chaz Lanier came to Tennessee from a mid-major program in North Florida. And obviously, one of the first questions were, how will he fill the shoes of Dalton Knecht, who comes over from Northern Colorado, is an absolute supernova for Tennessee, one of the best in the country, SEC Player of the Year, top 15 pick to the Los Angeles Lakers. Chaz Lanier comes to Tennessee and didn't fill those shoes because not many people can, but was still a great player for Tennessee. Was one of the best three-point shooters in the country, helping the Vols to yet another Elite Eight appearance. He goes to Detroit, and he proves that Tennessee can still be a destination for those transfer players looking for a landing spot, and you don't have to be Dalton Knecht to find your role within this team and make an impact. Chaz Lanier did exactly that, and he heads up to Detroit that could use some spot-up shooting. The Detroit Pistons have turned things around, one of the worst teams in the NBA 2 years ago, to a playoff team this past season, about a mid-table team in the NBA as far as three-point shooting is concerned. And obviously, Chaz Lanier brings that in spades. He joins up with some young players that surround a star in Cade Cunningham and another VFL in Tobias Harris. Obviously, Harris was a one-and-done in the latter part of the Bruce Pearl era at Tennessee, has had a fantastic NBA career. So if Tennessee fans are looking for an NBA team to cheer on, I think you might have one in the Detroit Pistons. That's Tobias Harris and Chaz Lanier are up there in Detroit. Not to mention Zakai Ziegler, picked up by the Pistons for the Summer League. Later on this year, he will be playing for Detroit. So I think it's a pretty easy answer if you're a Tennessee fan looking for that NBA team to root for. I don't know. Some of you may still be cheering for the Los Angeles Lakers for Dalton Knecht, and here's to a year 2 breakout for Knecht in his NBA career. And then there's Jemai Mashack, who ends up in Memphis, and immediately people start talking about the ceiling of Jemai Mashack, and that would be Tony Allen, one of the best perimeter defenders in the history of the NBA that didn't have much of an offensive output in his NBA career, but a bona fide star on defense and a Memphis legend. And Memphis has made a habit of drafting Tennessee players in recent years. You think back to Jarnell Stokes, a Memphis native who was drafted by the Grizz, had a couple of good years before going overseas. Kennedy Chandler, who also went back to his hometown to play for the Grizzlies, never really found his footing. And then, of course, Yves Pons, another defensive specialist who had a very short stint after landing in Memphis and is now playing in Europe, where, of course, he is from in France. Now Jemai Mashack is that next Tennessee player hoping to take advantage of that opportunity. An elite athlete, one of the best defenders in all of basketball, college or pro. But as was the question throughout his time at Tennessee, can he develop a consistent enough shot and offensive output to make him a player that will make an NBA roster? That remains to be seen. But this is only positive momentum for Rick Barnes in Tennessee men's basketball. Seeing players hear their names called in the NBA draft and doing it after getting to Tennessee through various different paths. Jemai Mashack, a rare kind of player these days, 4-star recruit, commits to Tennessee, enrolls at Tennessee, and stays at Tennessee for all 4 years. And then, of course, Chaz Lanier, a Nashville guy originally, but a mid-major transfer product that came to Tennessee and made his impact. Rick Barnes has created a nice little pipeline to the NBA. Still would love for one of those guys to really find a foothold as a bona fide star in the NBA. But until then, things are going pretty good for Tennessee men's basketball. So congratulations to both Chaz Lanier and Jemai Mashack for getting their opportunity at the next level.